So I'm Jonathan Evans, I'm the head of the Shared Services Alliance. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of our collaborative procurement program across the NDA estate. So firstly, for any of you that don't know the Shared Services Alliance, I thought it would be useful just to start with what we are and what we do. The Alliance is all of the estate companies. We come together to form the Shared Services Alliance back in 2009. And since then, we've been gradually building up a portfolio of collaborative procurements across the NDA estate. It also includes the National Nuclear Laboratory as well as a similar government-owned, government-operated organization with a lot of similarity in the kind of things that we procure. So primarily, it's about the sort of common requirements that we have across the estate that we work together to procure. So as such, we've got 9 organizations in the Alliance, the site license companies themselves, the NDA itself, and the subsidiary entities, Direct Rail Services, International Nuclear Services, and Radioactive Waste Management. The SSA is a model, a network model, so we use people from all of those organizations. Myself, I work for the Low-Level Waste Repository, and they have kindly seconded me in to run the Shared Services Alliance. And we use that network of people to deliver the collaborative procurement program. We now have a portfolio of about 60 different contracts across the estate, and through those contracts, we spend about £420 million per year with the supply chain. As you'll appreciate from some of the numbers this morning, the 1.7 billion figure, it's now about 20% of the supply chain spend that we procure collaboratively. It's been a successful program since we started totting up the savings back in 2010. We've delivered over £367 million worth of cashable savings back into the estate. And part of our driver for collaborating in this area is to return that money back into the core missions of each of the businesses, and i.e. to progress the decommissioning programs. Any of you were here last year? We were launching the SSA last year because we've recently created a central team to drive the program forward. I'm pleased to say that the team's now fully in place, so the 16 of us now driving SSA as a commercial hub for the decommissioning estate. In a moment, I'm just going to talk you through the collaborative categories, so the areas of spend that the Shared Services Alliance cover. If you want to know any more about that today, we're at stand N1 in the exhibition area, and please come and talk to me or the team about the collaborative opportunities. The other aspect of SSA's role is that we also are supporting the estate in delivering a series of business improvement projects, particularly looking at the procurement processes and systems across the estate with a view to how we can integrate various different ways of working across the estate to give a more coordinated approach for the supply chain. I'm going to touch on a few examples in that area of some progress that we've made over the past 12 months. Our ultimate aim, our business case for SSA is to try and deliver £175 million worth of savings up to 2020, and I'm pleased to say we're actually ahead of that target as we stand today, and looking forward to delivering on it over the next couple of years. So the slides and things will be available today after the presentation today, so I have tried to cram as much content as I can into here whilst I'm only speaking for 10 minutes. Hopefully any of you that want to follow up on this offline can do so. These are our 6 collaborative categories: people, corporate, buildings, technology, operations, and nuclear, covering quite a diverse range of goods and services that we require across the estate, from contingent labor, professional services, to hotel bookings and travel, facilities, buildings, so a lot of work happening at the moment in facilities management space, energy and utilities. We also do work in the IT services arena, and then we look at common goods that we procure, personal protective equipment, materials and chemicals that we need across the estate, and then working in partnership with the Low-Level Waste Repository. Alex is going to be speaking later. We also support the collaborative delivery of a range of transport, treatment, and disposal solutions for radioactive waste. This slide is about our pipeline in terms of contracts that have recently been awarded, procurements that are currently underway, and the things that are coming up in the future. At our stand, you can pick up a little card with our website address. We're hosted on the NDA's website. We publish our procurement pipeline there on a quarterly basis to give you an update of what's coming up in the procurement arena. So just picking a couple of examples out of there, We have recently let a stationary contract. One of our key government partners is the Crown Commercial Service. They're here today as well. If you want to find out more about not just supplying to the NDA estate, but actually supplying to central government and the wider public sector, then please go and talk to the team at Crown Commercial Service. We work hand in hand with CCS in many of the common procurement areas, stationery being one of them, and this is a great example of working together where we ran an e-auction with that supplier base, and we're able to deliver a greater than 40% saving in our stationery costs by working collaboratively across the estate. Procurement's underway, so we're currently in the end process for health physics services. We have a number of IT services procurements that are in place, and we're just getting ready to launch a retender of our existing air filtration collaboration, which is coming to an end. So they're all topics to engage with us on. And then looking ahead into next calendar year, we'll be starting to think about learning and development services across the estate and a new collaboration, bringing the estate together to look at how we work together on developing people. Contingent labor, so our interim agency supplied workforce, and what we do with that existing arrangement and how we take that forward. In the professional services arena, we have a specialist nuclear services 2 is our existing generation of the framework. That's for things like engineering design support, safety case development, and we're reaching the end of the life cycle on that framework, so we'll be coming out to the marketplace again to renew that piece. We're also looking at facilities management arrangements across the estate and the security services, so all those good services that help keep us running the sites and the office facilities across the estate day to day. And then similarly, a final piece, a new procurement where we're looking at equipment hire, supporting the construction projects and the site operations right across the NDA estate. So, as I say, quite a diverse pipeline. If you want to know any more about those things, please do feel free to come and talk to us. I mentioned at the beginning that we're running a series of improvement projects across the estate. I've picked out the 4 key areas here, so that's processes, systems, contracts, and quality. David talked this morning about standardization and simplification. That's very much what we're trying to drive here by working as an estate to get a single approach to many of the things that we're trying to do. One of the recent successes on that front is our standardized selection questionnaire. So this used to be called pre-qualification questionnaires, or PQQ, but there's been a change in government terminology on this. So we've recently, in the past few weeks, just published a single selection questionnaire for the entire estate. Not an insubstantial achievement in itself, getting us to agree what the question set should be across the estate, but that's now available in our e-sourcing platform, Complete Tender Management, CTM. And just to give you a context of, well, why is that important? Well, for the small to medium enterprises, we've had a lot of feedback that our pre-qualification processes are complex and difficult to navigate, and we all do it in slightly different ways. Well, what we've developed here is a single solution to do that. It's available in CTM now as a tool that you can go and populate with your company's information. It doesn't have to link to a specific tender, so you can populate that information offline, not under the time pressure of a tender deadline, and then pull down the answers to those questions. It might be your health and safety policy, it might be your insurance documentation for a specific tender, whether that's from Doonray, from Magnox, from Sellafield, from LWR. So hopefully that will give a real benefit to the supply chain community, and we look forward to engaging with the suppliers in terms of how that is working. We're always open to feedback about how we could improve it and develop it. On the contract space, which is the other one I'll touch on, we're developing some model terms and conditions across the estate. Our MOD colleagues mentioned today about their work in simplifying contract terms and conditions. We're also doing similar pieces in the NDA estate, and after today, I think I'd like to work with the MOD colleagues as well on understanding the successes that they had. But that's starting to look at how we standardize insurance arrangements, audit arrangements, simplify intellectual property requirements, et cetera, to give a more standardized approach across the supply chain and make sure that the terms and conditions that we're implementing in our contracts across the estate are suitable for the actual requirement that we're looking at. The final one I'll touch on just before the 10 minutes runs up is quality. We get a lot of feedback from the supply chain about the complexity of our quality assurance arrangements. I'm sure you'll appreciate at the significant nuclear end of the spectrum, there's some very important quality standards that need to be approved. What we're working on here is trying to align those quality standards so that suppliers can understand what the quality arrangements are, no matter which of the NDA entities that you're working in. And one of our early tasks in that area is we're trying to pilot a combined supplier assessment program. You know, we all go out and do audits of suppliers to check those quality standards. Today, that's not very coordinated across the estate, and you may find as a supplier that we turn up 1 week from Doonray to look at something, and Sellafield is there in a couple of weeks' time looking at very similar aspects. So what we're starting to do is say, well, let's share those programs. How can we work together to simplify and reduce the burden both on ourselves and the supply chain for delivering those significant quality requirements. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour of what SSA is all about. I hope it gives you some insight into what we're trying to deliver through a collaborative program. And as Joe said, happy to take any feedback and questions offline. And with that, I will hand back. Thank you very much.